first time in history, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, NCES, Black, Hispanic, and other students of color represent a majority of the nation's public elementary and secondary school students, and the enrollment trend for Hispanics and other students of color is expected to increase through 2024. Although students of color now represent a majority in public schools, NCES reports that public schools employed about 3.1 million full-time teachers, majority of whom are white. According to a recent United States Department of Education Schools Staffing Survey, 82% of public school teachers were white, while 7% of public school teachers were black, down from 8%, and 8% were Hispanic. Moreover, only 2% of the more than 3 million public school teachers in America are black males. The report also indicates that 80% of public school principals were white, 10% were black, and 7% were Hispanic. In short, the students are becoming more diverse, but not the teachers. How long have you been teaching?
I have been teaching for 5 years. I taught pre-K, high school, and then I've been here at Utopian for 2 years.
This is my second year teaching in an actual public school system, but I've been working and teaching kids for about 20 years.
I've been a teacher for 14 years.
I've been teaching for 40 years.
I've been a teacher for 3 years.
What inspired you to become a teacher?
I've always been attracted to working with youth, especially inner city youth.
What inspired me to become a teacher? I loved working with kids. And my mother's best buddy was a speech language pathologist. So,
My mom was a teacher, an elementary school teacher, and she retired early when I was approximately like 8 years old. And so she would still like work as a substitute or volunteer. So I kind of was around education.
I always thought it was so cool that she could just travel from school to school and see a group.
I always said that I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse or both. And I did go to nursing school first, and I got all the way up to my LPN, and then I wanted to do something else. Even though I worked in a pediatric clinic, I still wanted to work with kids and do something like that.
See a group of kids and just, help them communicate and do a lot of things with them and have all these activities. I thought that was wonderful. So that inspired me to become a speech and language pathologist.
Do you believe that there is a shortage of absence of teachers of color?
I don't think it's necessarily a shortage of teachers of colors in our community. I think the shortage is with good teaching and educators who believe in researching and putting time to, get better at their craft.
Yes, I do. And the trend started years ago, I believe, because of the restrictions and requirements that were starting to be in place for teachers, for educators. They were making the qualifications pretty much, the requirements kind of not very reasonable, I'll put it that way.
It depends. I'm from the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and sometimes in those areas you don't see as many African American teachers because it's not as heavy African American as maybe Atlanta, as Georgia or some other places. I don't think that I think that it depends on where you are in the country.
What is the most troubling about teaching?
Most troubling thing about teaching,
Having to deal with students with behavior issues for me. Trying to learn how to differentiate and make it work for those students as well.
maybe the most troubling thing would be the lack of resources that teachers have, and that the things that I want to do in my classroom, a lot of times, I have to pay for it myself because of the funding of just education as a whole. So I think that might be one troubling thing.
Do you think an increase in the number of teachers of color will benefit minority children?
I believe so, because once again, in order to understand the journey, you probably have to take the journey as well. And if you take that journey, you can relate to the students that you are teaching.
Do you think that teaching will become a more attractive career for kids our age?
I think that as time progresses and you're able to use technology, it might become more attractive?
Definitely so. Once the education system realized that we need to bring in a little bit more of the minority descent and actually help our younger students channel in on their creativity and uniqueness, I think that it would be something that would be very aspiring for young minorities to do.
There's a possibility, but a lot of work has to be done. I think they need to look at really going out and recruiting more, making it more attractive.
I think the thing that's going to, stagger it for kids your age to want to go into teaching is the pay.
Why? Because they will then be able to be very liberal and use their teaching methods and skills in all types of fields.
Pay, resources, all that needs to be put in play. I really believe that there are a lot of students who may want to go into education.
Similar to what you guys see here at Utopian Academy. You see a variety of us here helping, whether it's in music, culinary arts, dance, science, social studies, therefore, so I feel as though it will be.
Because it's about giving back. It's about your community. It's about service. And a lot of millennials and others are beginning to think more like that, the young people like you coming up. So yeah, I think so.
Pay, because there are a lot of other careers out there that pay a lot of money, and as by the time you guys get 18, 19, 20, 21, the job market will be wide open. You'll be creating jobs and making your own money. So I don't know if it would be necessarily an attractive career to you all by the time you get my age.
Well, thank you, Ms. Howard.
Oh, no problem. That's it.
I don't know, but I hope so.
Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for being the greatest teacher ever.
Yeah.
What is the most rewarding about teaching?
The most rewarding thing about teaching is just like building relationships with my students and them being able to like trust me as a person, as a teacher, and as their friend. And I just feel like building that relationship and building that rapport with my students, it just makes me feel good.
They didn't tell me that. Anyways, thank you. While the nation's public school students are becoming increasingly more diverse, the teachers who stand before the students in their classroom remain predominantly white. In our own school survey, we asked middle school students to write an essay and answer the questions: does having a black or white teacher make a difference to you as a student? Overwhelmingly and surprisingly, these students reported no. It does not make a difference if a teacher is black or white. There is no doubt that individuals who commit themselves to teaching the nation's children are to be more valued. But based on research and emerging trends in education, the fact remains that employing more school teachers with cultural sensitivity and backgrounds similar to those who they teach will add value and benefit to the educational experience of all children.